Hello everybody and welcome back to the Human Perspective. We're doing another interview today of people who are participating in the National Council on Independent Living's meeting. And we have the privilege right now to be interviewing Alex Van Hook, who is currently working as an intern at the American Association of People with Disabilities and also is a graduate student at American University. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Judy.
So Alex, I'd like, could you please share a little information about who Alex is? What are things that you like to do? What are some things that you're passionate about?
Sure. Thank you again, Judy, for this awesome introduction. Hi, everyone. I am, as she mentioned, I am currently a graduate student at American University here in Washington, D.C. I'm originally from Pennsylvania. I happened to be born in California, but was raised in Pennsylvania. And I am very passionate about disability rights. And I am very, very interested in the transportation factors of disability rights to ensure that people with disabilities can be contributing members of their communities. That's one of my real passions. And in general, I enjoy visiting museums and exploring new areas, spending time with my family and friends, and seeing movies, just a few examples of things that I like to do.
So Alex, you have a couple of disabilities. You have a physical disability and you're deaf. So maybe you could share with us some of the challenges that you've maybe addressed over your lifetime, where things are today, and what you see as some of the successes and challenges that you and other people face who have deafness and another disability.
Sure. It is a very important issue, and I am what's considered cross-disabled. I have a cross-disability. So as an individual who is deaf and also has a physical disability, there have been challenges that have more to do with the community, I would say, because there are two communities, right? The deaf world and then also the disability community, or folks with physical disabilities. And there have been some challenges that include access issues. For example, in the public, out in the community, if there's physical access, that's great. However, the communication access might be lacking in those situations. And folks don't often realize, or maybe they forget, or it's not intentional, but then it's, the onus is on me to reach out and request those types of accesses to be provided. And then if you're thinking specifically about the deaf community, I have access there because I use the same language as the members of the community, but there are certain situations that might arise where maybe I'm at an event or an event is taking place and it is not physically accessible to me. And again, it could be because people just don't realize it or don't think about these types of issues, but those are the challenges that I've experienced. I would say overall, I've had to employ a lot of self-advocacy in those situations, and I find that it is really crucial because it is a way for me to educate others and remind them and ensure them that they understand that their community is diverse.
So what would you see as some of the changes that have occurred in your lifetime to address this issue, and what are some of the barriers that you're still working on?
Well, honestly, I still see a lot of barriers, a lot of common things that come up quite often, and I do consistently communicate those types of things to make sure that they're understood. My hope is that in the future there might be more involvement in the communities, and that the community overall might make some improvements when it has to do with the being more cross-disability aware. and
So-
accessible in general.
So when you graduate from American University, what are you interested in doing when you graduate?
Okay, sure. So I have both long and short-term goals and a vision for myself. To start with the long-term, I would say, I already kind of have an idea where I'd like to head, and I do know I want to be involved with disability rights advocacy work, especially focused on transportation issues. And of course, overall, I am open to working on other issues, certainly, but that's one of my main interests long term. I would say for the short term, when I graduate, which will take place next year in May 2018, I'm thinking about either law school or going on to obtain a PhD. So my goal is ultimately to do what I can to get as much education as possible and then get the experience that I need out in the field. Hopefully find a good place to work once I've done that. And really just, like as I said, something in the realm of disability rights advocacy.
So is independent living something that's important for you? And if so, why?
Yes, it certainly is. Independent living is crucial for me, and the reason being is that independent living really, if I think about having to live in an institution or staying home, then I wouldn't have access to maybe a personal care assistant or different forms of transportation or a way to really succeed in life. And I want to do what I can to contribute to society.
So you must be a great manager because you have personal assistants and sign language interpreters. So do your personal assistants sign? Can you?
Well, some of the personal care assistants do and some do not.
How do you manage that?
Well, really, I'm happy that you brought that up because there has been a lot of effort, and I mean, I would say there has been good experiences and bad experience with the drama over personal care attendants, but it is a lot to manage, if I'm being honest, and it normally does work itself out. One of the things I do think that's really important is just to get that service, and I will admit that sometimes it can be incredibly challenging to manage. But fortunately, I have family members who are incredibly supportive and help out with that too.
Yeah, I know for myself that personal assistance can be very challenging finding people. And are you working with other disabled people who have physical disabilities and are also deaf? Do you have friends who have multiple disabilities, including deafness?
Well, not so many actually. It's an interesting situation because some friends of mine are deaf, some friends of mine have a physical disability. However, the friends I have that have both is few and far between. I mean, there are some individuals who might be deafblind that are good friends of mine, and maybe, but it is rare that I find other friends who are deaf and have a physical disability.
So if you want to give a message to the viewers about challenges you would like to give to them, what's the message to the audience that you would like to give, particularly to younger disabled people? What do you want to tell them?
Sure. I would say that my challenge to all of you watching now is that when you are planning, or if you plan to host an event, a party, a gathering of some sort, be really diligent and think about the groups of people that you'll be inviting and make sure that you are identifying accessible spaces and do not assume that those spaces are because assumption tends to be pretty dangerous. If you miss, or if you do assume something like that, you could really exclude others and not make a situation fully accessible to everyone. So that would be my challenge to you.
So Alex, thank you so much for doing this. And I'd like to thank our audience for listening. And I want to continue to ask you to share the human perspectives, and also to please send us comments about how these interviews are going for you, ideas of things that we should be doing. So thank you, Alex, very much, and I look forward to working with you.
You're welcome. Likewise, looking forward.